We're back at Capital Casino, buying for $500 into the 1-3 game. Very first hand, there is a limp in front of me. I look down at 9-10 suited. Open for 15. Get called by the player in the cutoff for 15. He is a player I play against quite often. The other player folds out. We go heads up to a flop that comes out. Ace, Queen, 10 with one spade. So I got bottom pair and a flush draw. Heads up, I decided to go ahead and c-bet this thing for 20. He does some hokey pokey and turned himself around and then put in $20. Turn card comes is a 7 of spades. I was going to shut down, but I want to be aggressive on my first hand that I play. So when I pick up a flush draw, I'm going to go ahead and c-bet again, this time for $65. Now my opponent starts to think for a while, and I've seen this look before. I expect him to put in a raise now. I kind of stepped right in it. Feels like he probably flopped the nuts with King Jack. There are 16 combinations of King Jack. King Jack of spades is the one I do not want to see because that would mean I am drawing dead. And sure enough, he slides in 165. So I'm trying to do some quick math here. I need about 25% equity to make this call correct, and I have about a little over 20% equity. So I'm not getting the right price, but he does have another $80 or $90 behind. And if I make my flush, there's no way he's going to be folding when I jam. So with all that in mind, I decided to go ahead and put in the call for the extra $100. River card comes is a ace of spades. That's perfect. I make my flush. As long as he doesn't have King Jack of spades, I should be good. I jam. He gets a little frustrated and slams his chips in. I show him the flush, and he kind of flashed King Jack of diamonds as he folded. Got lucky on that one. Well, it's everybody's favorite time. It's bomb pot time. Here is $15 a player. We got 9 players in there. Flop is King, Queen, 3. All different flavors. Let's check to the player in the +1 position, and he makes a bet for $30. I look down at ace, king of spades, so I have top pair, top kicker, and a backdoor flush draw. I'm just going to put in the call. There are a lot of possibilities out there that someone might have something better than top pair, top kicker. Player at the other end of the table has kind of a shortest stack, and he decides he's just going to jam with it. Now, to be honest, I'm not too worried about this particular player. I think he's a little frustrated from how the day's been going, and he's just taking a shot. He might have just about anything. Of course, it's a bomb pot. He can have anything. But I'm thinking maybe something like a weak king, maybe even Jack 10, or maybe a queen by itself. It's folded back around to the player in the +1 position, and he decides to put in the call. He's a competent player, and I'm pretty concerned about what he has, but for $101 more to win over a $500 pot, I got top pair, backdoor flush draw, top kicker, you name it. I can't fold, so I put in the 101, and we see a king of diamonds on the turn. My opponent now checks, and had me quite confused. I thought if he had a hand like maybe king, queen, or pocket threes that he would continue. The other player who shoved all in, I go, he quite possibly could have a hand like king, jack, king 10. What to do? Well, I think I just have to go with it. I'm just going to try to deny equity to whatever he has. If he has the king with a weaker kicker, he's going to call. If he has king, queen, or pocket threes, he got me trapped. I shove. He snap calls. I asked him if he has pocket threes. He said yes. And I said, yeah, I just got 3 kings. Sometimes I just hate bomb pots. Well, I'm back to even again. See if we can build it back up. Get 7-6 suited in the +1 position. Open for a raise to 15. I do end up getting 3 callers or 2 callers. So we're going to go 3 ways to this flop. And looking for something that connects with a 7-6 clubs. Well, we get half of it right. We don't get the club part right, but we do get a 8 and a 5 on the board. So we flop an open-ender. There is 2 diamonds there. That could be a little worrisome. Someone might have a flush draw and 2 of my outs might be dirty. But one check two, I decided to continue for $25. I get a call from the player on the button and comes back around to the player in the big blind. He thinks it's worth 25 as well. So the 3 of us are going to go to a turn card, which happens to be a 3 of hearts. No, it's not a 4. It's not a 9. It's a 3 of hearts. Now the first player leads into us for $30. Rather a small sizing. I think he might have picked up a flush draw with maybe a pair. I'm definitely not going to be folding for $30, and neither does the player on the button. We're going to go off to see the river, 3-way still, and it's the Queen of Clubs. Not very good. We have 7 high and a dream. It's check to me. I just surrender. I'm not going to take a stab at this. I check it. The player on the button puts out a bet. Player in the big blind puts in a call, and I put in the fold. Seems like we were up against Queen 10 of diamonds. All right, there's an open for 15, a call for 15, and the player to my right also calls for the 15. I got 2 9s on the button. Definitely could be 3-betting here. I made it 85. I don't like my sizing. I think I should go larger, maybe 110 to 120. And I think this really hurts me during this hand. The player who opens kind of flashes his hand. I didn't see it, but from the way he acted, I'm sure he folded like ace queen, ace jack, something like that. So I think 1 ace is gone. The other player at the end of the table makes the call. Now, I played some poker with him, and I don't think he has a big ace. I think he probably has either suited connectors, big Broadway suited, maybe a few middling sized pocket pairs. Player next to me puts in the call also. He's getting some pretty good odds because I didn't raise big enough, so I'm a little bit worried that I'm giving him too good of a price to get in there. Anyway, we're going to go see a flop with 274 in the center. Flop comes out ace 7-6 with 2 spades. First player checks. Player to my right checks. Here, knowing that 1 ace is gone and my hand is vulnerable to overcards like big Broadway cards, I think that I need to bet my 9s, even though it's very scary. If someone calls, I'm going to put them on an ace and shut down. Sizing wise, I decided to go fairly small because I'm really trying to just get out cards like, say, Jack 10 suited, Queen Jack suited. So I go for a sizing for $70. Well, my goal was simple, just to get folds from overcards, but I get jammed on from the player at the other side of the table who has me covered. This is a very solid player I played a lot with. I don't think he has a lone ace. He's representing 2-pair or better, or a flush draw, or some sort of combo draw. So there's 2 combinations of 7-6 suited that aren't unaccounted for. There's also a chance that he has pocket 7s or pocket 6s. My raise size was a little small pre-flop, so he might have been enticed to come in. So there's 3 combinations of those. So there's 8 combinations I'm really worried about. All the rest are flush draws or combo draws. Well, I hate calling off with an ace on board with a pair of 9s, but there's just too many draws out there for me to fold. I flick it in, hold my breath, hoping he doesn't have anything. He says he has a set of 7s. I'm drawing pretty much dead until I catch an 8. Now I got 10 outs and I miss. Serves me right. I need a bigger raise sizing pre-flop. This punt is brought to you by poor raise sizing pre-flop. I reload for 500. Very next hand, same player that just beat me opens for 15. I call the 15. The player on the button behind me makes it 55. He's been playing fairly conservative. Seems like he has a big pair. Player at the other end of the table puts in the call. Gives me justification to go ahead and put in a call here. It's a kind of loose, but if I hit my hand, straights or flushes or some little 2 pairs, I can probably get all my money back from the previous hand. And yeah, I'm stuck $500. I'm not going to miss this opportunity. Three of us go to a flop with 169 in, and the flop comes jack high, but lucky for me, it comes with two diamonds. And first player checks, I check quickly. I expect the player behind me to make a bet. If he has an overpair, he makes kind of a chunky bet. So I'm not in love with the sizing. It's $101. The player at the other end of the table, he puts in the call. So I'm thinking he probably has a jack at this point. It's kind of expensive to draw to a flush for $101, but yeah, I'm going to do it. I think it's close enough for me to make the call. We're going to head off to the turn with 472 in the center. Well, it's time to see the turn card, and it's a 5 of diamonds. Yes, we made our flush. Great for us. First player checks. I check. Player behind us has about 170 left. He shoves all in for his 170. Player at the other table, I'm just hoping is going to call because I want some of my money back. And as I said, he's a tough player, so it's hard to get money out of him. And when I have an opportunity, I want it to happen. He thinks for a while, but lets his hand go. And of course, I'm going to snap call. I got a flush. My opponent next to me says, "Did you make the flush?" I said, "Yeah, I did." He goes, "Well, I got to redraw." And the river is 8 of clubs. He had pocket aces with the ace of diamonds. Well, after this hand, we're back to even, and it's our turn to get aces. What a wonderful sight to see. I make it $15. I get called from the player in the hijack, and we're going to go heads up to a flop with 34 in. Flop comes 9-5-5 with 2 clubs. Pretty good flop for aces. I'm just going to continue small for $15. My opponent puts in the quick call. Turn card comes is a jack of hearts. Very good, safe card. I'm going to try to get a little more value. I make it $40. My opponent wastes no time in putting in a raise to $110. What could this mean? Hey, it could mean that he's slow playing a 5. Maybe he thinks his jack is good. Maybe something like jack blank of clubs. Picked up a flush draw on the flop, made top pair. There is some value of raising and trying to deny equity to those type of hands, but there's also the threat of, running into a real hand. He could have something like pocket nines. Tough decision, but if I want to keep all his bluffs in, I think it's better just to call, and if he misses his flush draw, he will probably fire. If he has a jack, he might bet for value. So I call. River card comes is a 8 of hearts. I check again. He quickly checks it back. My aces I know are good now. He did show that he had the 7-8 of clubs. So I think he probably would have tried to shoot his way out if he didn't make a pair of 8s on the river. I got a couple limpers in front of me. I make it $15 with a pair of 7s from the hijack. I get a call from the player behind me and 2 more calls. And so we're going to end up going to this flop 4 ways with $64 in the center. Flop comes out 9-8-5 with 2 spades. Not a great flop for 2 7s. I do have a gut shot. First player checks, second player bets for 30. I've picked up on a little tell from the player who just bet. I've seen him do this many times before, and I'm like 95% sure he has a flush draw at this point. It would be bad if he had a 9 with his flush draw, or even worse, with a 6-7 of spades for his flush draw. But I think he only has a flush draw and not much else. So my choices are, well, I can fold because he has plenty of equity, and I don't know what the other player behind me is going to do. Or I can call, but that will let everyone in for a really good price. Heck, why don't we just raise and isolate this player and barrel on all non-spades? Sounds like a plan. The other 2 players end up folding out. Well, we head off heads up to a turn card of an ace of diamonds. No spade, that's good. He checks it over to me. I'm going to continue with the plan. We're going to barrel. I make it $140. I slide it on in, and he calls really, really quick. Now I'm worried that he has the ace high flush draw and just made a pair of aces. Well, I was going to barrel any non-spade, but now if it's a non-spade that pairs the board, I'm going to have to give up because I don't think he would fold aces up under any circumstances. Ay, 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 this might get ugly. Anyway, we're headed off to the river, which is the miracle, I mean miracle, seven of hearts. So we went from a pure bluff to now a value hand. Unless he has the six of spades, I think I'm pretty darn good right now. Anyway, he checks it over to me, and I'm going, well, I was going to bluff before. I might as well make it look like a bluff now. I'm going to put the same sizing I would have before, $300, and hope he calls me down. Anyway, he doesn't snap call, so I know he doesn't have the six of spades or the jack 10 of spades. He tanks for quite a while before showing that he has the ace of spades in his hand and says, oh, you must have me, and he folds. Well, we turned our attempted three-barrel bluff into just a value bet on the end, but I think the bluff would have got through if a blank came. Unfortunately, I can't show every single hand I play, and I can't show every day I play. But I do record them, and people ask me about it, and they want to see themselves in the vlog or the hand I had against them in that particular spot. I'm going to show you some bonus hands. This comes over various days over the last couple of weeks. They're just hands that I picked out, people requested to see, and here they are. I'm under the gun with two queens, decided to open a raise for $15. It's folded around to the player in the hijack. He makes it $55. He has a pretty good sized stack, and I'm interested in getting most of it. Player next to him puts in the cold call for the 55. The other players fold out. This is easy raise for me. I'm going to go ahead and make it $230. Probably can go a little bit larger. I think I shortchanged myself a little bit here. This probably should have been $255, but $230 is close enough for government work. Back to the player at the end of the table, and he tanks for a while before deciding to put the money in. So after he puts the $230 in the pot, the player next to him thinks for a long time before deciding to end up folding. Well, now that he's out of the way, I'm thinking that the player who called me has a lot of ace kings in his range. Also has some pocket jacks and pocket tens. We'll see a flop that comes out jack 9-6 with two hearts. Not the greatest flop in the world. If he has pocket jacks, he now has me beat. If he has ace king of hearts, he's going to be drawing. But I'm not going to be slowing down. I jam all in, or effectively all in for his stack. And now it's on him. And he tanks for a good 2 to 3 minutes, talking about the possibility that he might be drawing to just 2 outs. So I'm thinking that he might have pocket tens. I don't know. Whether 2 outs could he have? But finally he came to the realization that he cannot let his hand go, and he goes all in for his remaining stack. We see a run out of an 8 of diamonds and an 8 of hearts. I show my queens,
I'll go with
and
that.
he shows his.
I'll go with that. I thought I was beat for sure.
Take your best back.
For sure.
Everybody loves a chop pot.
Well,
We're in the low jack with pocket nines. There are 2 limpers in front of us. We make it $20. It's folded back around to the player in the small blind. He puts in the call, and so does the first limper. We're going 3 ways to a flop with 66 in. Comes out jack 8-4 with 2 hearts. Both players check to me. I'm going to go ahead and continue this, usually on a little bit bigger sizing because there's a flush draw out there. Player in the small blind decides that he wants to play for more than $35. He makes it $90. What could this mean? Well, if you flopped a set, that would be the most dangerous thing, and that's a possibility. And I don't think you'd be doing this with a lone jack. So I kind of discount that. But there are a lot of draws out there. I mean, there's straight draws, flush draws. Heck, he could even be doing this with air. You might just think, oh, Doug has ace king, ace queen. He likes to raise with those big cards. I'm just going to go ahead and make a move on him. Yeah, so it doesn't really hit my raising range, and I think he knows that. And I think he's maybe trying to make a play at me, trying to just put pressure on me. Maybe he thinks I have some big flush draw and he can win it with a small pair. Maybe just force me out no matter what I have. Well, I'm not from Missouri, but I'm in a show me state of mind right now. Turn card comes is a four of clubs, less likely has pocket fours. He fires again, this time for 120. I am still a non-believer. Just the way he bets and the speed of his bet makes me feel like he is really trying to push me off my hand and not trying to get value from it. I put in the call and we see a queen of hearts on the river. Probably the scariest effing card in the whole deck. I mean, the straight draw gets there, flush draw gets there, another overcard gets there. I don't really like it. I think that, if he was bluffing, this hits a lot of his bluffs. He thinks for quite some time and then decides to check it. And I'm thinking, man, I think he just hit a queen. You know, why else would he check? He finally made his hand and he's checking it. Well, I'm not going to bet. I'm just going to check back. He rolls over 8-7. So if he fired on the end, I was probably going to call him, but it would have been scary. All right, I'm in the big blind with two jacks. There was a limper, a player raised to 15, another player calls to 15. And me, I think it's obviously I'm going to make it 60. So I just put in the raise, and then the limper cold calls for 60. And they don't have a very big stack. I mean, they have about $180, and they're putting a third of their chips in after limping. Very interesting. We're heads up. Flop comes out 9-5-4 with two spades. Well, I got an overpair on a draw heavy board. I'm going to put in $60, half the remaining stack. I'm trying to deny equity to hands that have overcards, flush draws, maybe get value from someone with a 9. Not really sure what they could have. I mean, I guess it's possible. Oh, wait. They go all in. All right. They either have a set or a big draw. Maybe 6-7 of spades. Maybe pocket 9s. Pocket 5s, pocket 4s. Possible, I guess. They don't really have the stack size to be set mining for $60. More likely they have a flush draw. I put in the call, and the flush draw gets there, and the straight gets there, and then they show pocket 4s. Probably not the best choice for set mining, but hey, they got there, and they got it all from me. Well, this hand happened in a deep 1-3 game. I got two queens, $6 straddle on, player opens for 15, I make it 60. Player on the button, cold calls to 60. All right, putting him on a very tight range. Ace-kingish hands, maybe medium pairs like jacks, 10s, possibly 9s. Flop comes jack, 6, deuce. Well, not the greatest. I do have a queen of clubs in my hand, so I'm blocking some of those flush draws. I end up betting $55. Seeing if my player has overcards like ace king. If they have something like pocket jacks, I imagine they'll call, and they might call with some weaker hands. It's possible they had ace jack suited and decided to play it. Not likely. Smaller pocket pairs might put in a crying call, say, 10s or 9s. They put in a call for 55, and we see a 8 of diamonds on the turn. Is it possible that he had pocket 8s? Yeah, but let's face it, I'm worried about pocket jacks at this point. I checked it over to him, see what he was going to do. I mean, sometimes you can just feel these things. If he makes a bet here, what would he be betting with? Possible flush draw, possible ace-jack type of hands, especially maybe ace-jack of diamonds. And, of course, the dreaded pocket jacks. $75 seems to be a very good price. Maybe too good of a price, if you know what I mean. Sucking me in there. I put in the call. River card comes as 8 of hearts, so very unlikely that he had a hand like pocket 8s. I check again. All the flush draws miss. Ace-jack is still possible. He might go for some thin value, but I don't know whether he will go for $200 worth of thin value. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. There are only three real combinations that I am worried about, and that's a Jack Jack and a Jack Jack and a Jack Jack. I feel like folding, but two flush draws missed. He could have had the Ace Jack of Diamonds. This is a bad call. I put the money in. He shows me two jacks. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Well, I hope you enjoyed those bonus hands. On that day we played, well, we're in for $1,000. Cashed out for $1,335, so that's $335 more than we started with. I haven't been playing my best poker lately. It's a little frustrating. Have a hard time gaining traction, I guess you can say. At least I've still been able to grind out some small wins. Nothing great. It's like work. God, I hate to say that, but poker like work. Ooh. Anyway, hope things will get a little bit smoother this summer and get on a little hot streak again. I kind of miss being on a hot streak. Anyway, I really do appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Until then, good luck at the tables.